All right, we're going to be building a pad here for a storage building, a little small greenhouse. You can see there's some vegetation here, a little bit of debris. Not a very big space, it's a smaller building, but we're going to be scraping this top layer off and got some hard pan soil being delivered this morning that's going to spread out in here and give a solid foundation. So you can see what we're working with here. We're going to be getting started here in just a minute so we can get this prep for the dirt delivery, because when they get here they're going to dump it right in this spot, and then I'm going to spread it and level it out. You can see I'm not going very far. It's a small building. I believe it was 6.5 by 7.5. We're going to build a pad slightly larger than that. Give him a little room to work with when he starts doing the final stages of foundation prep and the framework. This little building is a greenhouse that he bought from a big wholesale store, and it's just going to be a pickup point for customers to pick up products. Not using it for any kind of manufacturing or anything like that. It's just a place to store materials until the customer comes to pick it up, or not materials, but final product. A little challenging this morning. I'm going, when I move forward, I'm facing directly into the sun, which is not ideal because I do have some obstacles here I have to look out for as I move through. There's a lot of stuff y'all can't see in the video, but I'm trying not to show the customer's house. I always try to avoid showing the houses or anybody's residence when I'm doing a job. Do my best to preserve people's privacy. There's so much debris down there. There's all kind of stuff. This customer bought this house, and basically he said everything was a giant mess around here. He's been doing nothing but cleaning up and trying to find the debris. Whoever owned this place before just threw stuff everywhere. He said he's finding broken glass, concrete, bottles, cans, all kinds of stuff, which is actually not that unusual. I find a lot of debris on jobs, regardless of what kind of job it is I'm doing. It's very common to run across old bricks, concrete blocks, old fencing. There's some fencing here that runs along this ditch. I don't know if y'all can see that. It kind of shows up in part of the video. I'm trying to focus on the land plane, but the ditch runs along the property line. It doesn't belong to the property owner. That ditch has a fence running along it. So I have to watch out for that. I don't want to have to replace a piece of fence. If I go too far forward, I run into the front porch of the house. You gotta look out for that. Yeah, this little building, I think he said it weighs somewhere around 400, 450 pounds, but that's, just the empty building. But with the type of products they're going to be putting in there for customers to pick up, it still won't have a lot of weight to it. But clean this up, get it fairly leveled out best I can. It's very uneven ground. Big hole in the center that part of the reason why I'm doing this, trying to level this out a little bit. We got to put this new dirt in and then kind of grade it out so that water doesn't settle on the building. But it's got a frame based on the manufacturer's instructions. He gave me a copy of the manual from the manufacturer. That once the ground is prepped, and all I'm doing is scraping this out, putting some hard pan soil on it, grading that, and then he's going to put landscape fabric on top of the soil and then gravel, per the manufacturer's instructions. And then use 4x4s to build a frame to attach the building to, and the whole thing has to be completely assembled. It comes in a crate or box, it has to be pulled apart or unpacked and then assembled on top of the 4x4 post on the ground. Trying to make it look as good as I can, but there's an old piece of concrete somebody poured here in between the driveway and this pad site. And I don't want to tear up the cutting blades on this land plane. This is a new land plane. Dump truck will be here soon to deliver the soil. Got about 3.5 tons of hard pan being delivered. And that hard pan, put it in here and settle it in. It packs in tight, gets firm, makes a great base for structures, driveways, roads, anything where you want a solid surface to put something, a building or drive on. Just trying to kind of clean this pile of dirt up. It's got a lot of trash in it, roots, some vegetation, stuff like that. But once we lay the hard pan in here and build this up, give him a level surface, and he'll do everything after that. Alright everybody, we're back. I had dirt delivered. I didn't film me doing the first part of this because there were some large clumps in here I had to break up with the bucket. Be able to have some material to work with. But now we're gonna start spreading this out, cover the area for the customer that he needs covered so he can do his greenhouse. I have to approach this from a couple of angles here. This is hard pan soil. At least that's what we call it in our area. Should have a different name in different parts of the country. But this stuff has such a clay base to it. Once you get it compacted, let it dry like this being early in the morning. A lot of times when we get this dirt, it's still pretty wet. And it can make it a little more difficult to work with. Especially when you get the big clumps like we had in this load this morning. You have to do some extra work to get it ready. Breaking up the clumps as much as you can. Sometimes you get clumps that are just too much to break up. You have to do what you can with them. Sometimes you just have to toss them to the side and not use them at all. But in this case, most of it broke up. There's still a few chunks in there I'll have to probably break up a little bit more. See a chunk there that I keep snagging. Yeah. Probably end up having to break up some more of these pieces because they're not cooperating. Yeah, that piece is causing me issues. Just try and run over it. If I can run over it, sometimes it'll smash them up. And sometimes it doesn't do anything. So we'll see what happens. But I like to drive over stuff like this anyway. It helps start packing it down, filling in the little low spots. You gotta figure out. Running about 7,500 pounds right now with this setup. So if I can compact it with this, it'll definitely support the weight of the building that's going to be going on it. It's actually packing in really nice on this uneven area. It's a tricky spot for the dump truck to get in. I didn't want to film that. Don't have their permission to film them. I don't know if they would mind, but we got to get this job done. And they have a lot of work to do also to keep their trucks steady running. So you can't hold them up to film stuff, stage everything perfectly. They were telling me when they dropped this off this morning, it's a husband and wife team. They were telling me that when they were made 13 runs yesterday and the throttle cable broke on the dump truck. They had to fix that before they could get back moving again. And got stuck twice on the job site that they were in, had to keep getting the truck pulled out. These are the kind of things that you encounter when you're doing jobs. Sometimes you're not in the most ideal conditions. This is not bad, it's just a tight space because of the trees that I'm working in between. Big stump in front of me, you can't see that, but there's a big stump in front of me that I have to avoid, and then just the other side of that big stump is the house. So you gotta watch out for everything 360 degrees around you. And this is packing down nice. I can do a little more grading and spreading and even it out. We'll get it looking good. may have to spin around. I can use the bucket to break up a couple of clumps I'm seeing. The weight of the tractor's not busting them up, at least not enough. I'm trying to make a smooth transition from the driveway out onto the pad where the building will be. This is my customers' concern with the safety of their customers that are going to be coming and picking up products out of this building. So they want to keep it as nice and level as possible without a lot of elevation change. They're trying to avoid having to put steps in. Steps would work, but it also increases risk for anybody going in and out of that building, which increases liability risk on the business. Yeah, there's a bunch of bad clumps in there. I'm gonna have to bust them up some more. Okay, we're back. Did a little adjustment here. Broke up some clumps, and then it was a little bit too high on one side, so I pulled some of that dirt over. Spread it out on this side to get this a little more leveled out. This is one of these scenarios where it doesn't have to be perfect, but you want to do a good job. Again, this is stuff I could be doing with the bucket, but this land plane with these cutting blades does a really good job of pushing the dirt and keeping it level while I'm moving dirt. Done a lot of stuff like this just using the bucket, but to be honest with you, this land plane creates a much better finish. It scrapes the surface. It's got a 6-foot wide working width. Which my bucket is 6 foot wide also, but things have happened to that bucket over the years, and it's not perfectly flat on that front edge that I like to use when I do stuff like this. So it can leave a less flat surface at times. But I can also see better what I'm doing with this land plane. It does kink up the neck a little bit. I hope the audio quality in this segment of the video is better than the first segment, because I'm still experimenting and trying different things with this new equipment I bought. The mic set, I didn't put the little fuzzy attachment, the wind blocker on it, and I had it set on the highest noise cancellation setting, and I found I was watching the video while I was waiting on the dump truck to bring this load of dirt, and I heard a lot of echo, and I don't know, it did not sound as clean as what I was expecting based on all of the research I've done, and other people use this exact same mic setup and have no problems. It has nice clean audio, which was part of the reason why I decided to spend extra money and buy this setup. And I think any audio quality issues is going to be something I'm doing wrong. Maybe I don't have the settings right. So hopefully I can do some video editing and kind of filter the audio a little bit, clean up any issues in the audio. So bear with me as I make more videos and experiment with different things. You should be seeing some improvements in the quality. I'll tell you one thing I do like, I've played around with this new gimbal, especially walking around and filming, and it really helps, makes the video look a lot smoother. It reduces all of that bouncing motion you see in videos where if you're just holding the phone by hand. Now we're starting to get there. This is starting to look like what I want it to look like. Just doing some fine tuning on this to make sure we're good and level. Again, this is oversized from the footprint of the building that's going on it. But that's what you want. You want your base pad to be a little bigger than the footprint of the building, whether it be a house, garage, storage building, greenhouse. There's a huge chunk. I'm going to have to do something with that. That's causing issues. Try and push that out in the back. And it didn't work. Alright, I'm going to get out and just kick that out because it's not working for me. See, now we're pulling dirt from high spots into low spots. This is not going to be the most perfect finish. There we go. I'm trying to cut it, level it out a little bit better. This ground was so uneven, and I'm filling in holes and moving stuff around to create a level surface. There we go. See, I drop the excess and then I push it into the lower areas. A little bit at a time, it's building up the low spots. And then, of course, me driving over it's compacting it. cut the surface and clean it up. Lifted too soon. This is what I like about this land plane, is it cuts all those high points, and then I can move the dirt around to where I need it. And I'm moving some of this excess toward the back, and I'm not going to compact that back there. That way, if the customer needs to scoop a little dirt in there to level out his 4x4s for the base of the building, he has a little extra that he can work with. If you've never built something on the ground with wood, you may not really understand what I'm talking about, but if you have, you do understand what I'm talking about. No matter what you do for prep, there's always going to be something that's not exactly how it needs to be. You're going to have to make some adjustments, maybe add a little soil, some extra gravel, remove some soil or gravel. To get your boards level. You know, obviously nothing's perfect in nature in order for being made. I've cut all the high points, moved the dirt to the low points, and it's now the blades are coming across nice and flat. It's a little tricky on the one side because the ground's very uneven over there, but that's outside of our work area. One more pass across the center because I went from side to side. I moved the joystick too much and the lever. The center, because I kind of didn't adjust a land plane like I should, messed up the spot. Some more dirt right here. Tell you one thing about this hard pan soil is it doesn't take much for it to compact, and it's got to dry. Although it doesn't get a lot of sunlight right here because of the trees. But a day or two, that'll dry out. We're having some warmer temperatures this week, so it may not take that long, may not take but half a day to a day. Excuse me. And this will be dried out. And then the customer's going to come back and cover it with his fabric and rock. Then he can level out his 4x4s and start construction on the building. I don't know if he's doing it himself or if he's going to hire somebody. I did give him a name of a company to call to assemble the building for him if he doesn't want to take it on himself. But our last conversation about that, he had not decided yet. So anyway, I'm going to cut this off and then I'll get out and do a walk around.